My second tutorial on using Flash. We're going to cover today the ball bounce using different types of tweens. We're going to learn about symbols, look at layers, look at using the library, and again these animation principles. So we're going to look at straight ahead and pose to pose animation, and look at timing and spacing. Actually we're looking at weight as well. Today we're going to produce a ball bounce just to get the idea of tweening. Then we're going to look at a bowling ball, how that is affected by the weight, a golf ball as well, and a beach ball. So we're going to end up making these 4 little animations, and that's just going to demonstrate to us some of these animation principles. So let's get started and with our animation. So last time we looked at frame by frame animation with just a ball bouncing that we just drew in the canvas or the stage. So this time we're going to create a new scene. So I've already created that, that's scene 2. To insert a new scene, you just go up to insert and you just go scene. And your scenes are positioned here, so you can see scene 2 here, and you can choose a drop down menu here, and you can choose between scene 1 or scene 2. So we have our first layer here, just called Untitled. I'm actually going to just rename that one Ball 1, because it's our first ball that's going to go there, and we're going to create our first ball. So we're going to go to the toolbox over here, select the rectangle tool, drop down menu, and we've got an oval tool here. So click and hold to select that. I'm going to turn off the stroke as well. And the fill, I'm just going to change to a nice blue colour just so it is very clear to us. And I'm just noticing there that the actual, it's got these crosshairs here, means that the alpha for it is actually a bit transparent. So if I go to my palette here, turn up A, that's the alpha, turn that up to 100% so it becomes opaque and there's no transparency at all. So let's create our first ball. So I'm going to click and hold on the canvas. If I hold down shift, it constrains proportions. So I'll do that, and that's a good size there, it doesn't really have to be too big. And then I'll select the selection tool, or V as a shortcut, select it, and I'll just show you with shapes. You can actually create them with like digital clay. I like to call this digital clay. You can push and pull and create any object you like. You can also select it and then delete sections here, and then you've got corners you can push and pull around. So it's kind of like clay almost. So let's just undo those. And you can also add the stroke on later using the ink bottle or the paint bucket tool if you want to change the fill colour. But we'll just leave that for now, so we'll leave that. There we go. So let's convert it to a symbol. We'll go Control or right click on the object and convert to symbol. Okay, I'm just going to call that one ball. Hit OK. And we can tell it's a symbol because it's got this bounding box around it now. And also this means that we cannot treat it like clay anymore. If we try to delete it, okay, it won't chunk off in sections now. We actually have to double click to get inside the symbol now to modify it. So if we double click inside the symbol, if we have a look at the top here, we've got scene 2 and then ball, and then you've got that option there. So we've got the highlighted little dot matrix there, and we can change this if we like. So we'll just undo those. So we'll go back to scene 2 and our symbol. Now to create a simple ball bounce, we use something called tweening, and we use the keyframes. So what we need to do is actually put some frames in our timeline. So it's only got 1 frame. So I'm going to go up to frame 20 and hit Fn, F5, or just F5. And I'm just going to remove that. It should appear blank like this. And then we're going to just add a Classic Tween. So Control click or right click here and create Classic Tween, and you'll end up with this sort of lavender or highlighted row. We'll drag our playhead to the back to frame 20, and I'm going to insert a keyframe. So Fn, F6, and now the keyframe has been inserted because we've got a frame with a little black dot inside. So this means that the frame has changed. All these frames here are just normal frames. They're not keyframes, they're just a normal frame because it's actually just repeating what's in this keyframe here. Alright, so let's pop the ball bounce just down the bottom. So I'm just going to bring that down. If you hold down shift, it will actually just move in the same direction. Okay, and then when we drag the playhead back and forth, we have got a tween. Now in frame 40, I'm going to do the same thing, FN F6 to create a keyframe. And it's already created the tween for us, which is very nice. If you do not have the tween there, you just insert tween, classic tween there. And then on this keyframe, I'm going to drag it back out. So we'll just drag it back up. Here we go. And scroll down to my stage, and we have the first ball bounce. So if you hit enter, okay, you've got a ball bounce. Very easy. Now, the second part of this tutorial now is we're going to create a couple of other balls and just show the difference between weight and timing. So let's do that. So to do that, we need to create some more layers. So let's create a layer. I'm going to call this one bowling ball. So we'll do the bowling ball now. So let's select this blank keyframe here, and we'll go into our library. So our library is where all our symbols are stored. So let's go into our library, and I'm just going to bring the ball onto the canvas, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger as well, just to show that it's a bowling ball. It's got a bit of a weight to it. And so we will just use this tool here, the free transform tool, third one down. And you've got a bounding box around it now. So I'm just going to hold down shift. Okay, and that just makes it a little bit larger. I'm going to hit the selection tool again, drag this outside the stage so it'll start off here. Again, it's going to drop at the same rate as the ball one. So I'm going to move my playhead up to frame 20. But before doing that, I'm just going to create a classic tween. So again, right click. Okay, FN F6 for a keyframe. Bring that down. And my bowling ball, I think I'm actually just going to let it stay there. It's actually just plonk down. Okay, now next ball I want to do is a golf ball. So let's create another layer. Call it golf ball. Oops. And again, select the blank keyframe. Go to our library and pull out the golf ball. And I'm going to make this one start just over here, and we will just make it smaller. We'll just start off over here and create a classic tween. Okay, I'm going to add a keyframe. Drag this down. Okay, and let's have a look at our tween. Okay, it's dragging down like the rest, except this time now I'm going to make it bounce up and then bounce down again. So we'll make it maybe frame 30. We'll add another keyframe, and we're going to drag it so it bounces. So we'll put it halfway up the canvas or the stage. Couple of frames forward. Again, we need to insert a keyframe. So FN F6. Drag it down, just create the selection tool, there we go. And then again, we'll just bring it up, another keyframe. Okay, and then we'll end it on frame 40 with another keyframe. There we go. Now we can actually see weight and a bit of movement happening. So let's press enter. And it's actually accelerating quite fast with the gravity of the golf ball. So you could just adjust those frames by adding frames in between here, or you could create, just drag a keyframe up a bit further as well. So let's have a second look at that. And I'm just going to drag a couple of these frames up just to space out the bounce a little bit more. And again, I'm just going to, oops, pop our timeline back in there. So on this up one, it goes quite fast actually. Alrighty, now let's create our beach ball for the last one. So new layer. There we go. And create beach ball. And on this layer, I'm going to just drag from my library again, just that last ball. Okay, and again, a free transform tool. I'm going to make it quite a large ball. Start outside the stage. Make sure we add a Classic Tween. Okay, again, I'm going to make it bounce the same place. So I'm going to just add a keyframe in. Drag this down. And then it will also bounce up and down. So we'll have it bounce here. Come back down. And then again. And then again. And you notice how I don't actually need to add a new keyframe. If the tween is already there, you can just drag it on the canvas and it will actually create a keyframe for you, which is very nice. So let's have a little play of that. And it's just going a little bit too fast towards the end, but that's okay. We'll just drag this down a little bit more. And there's another thing you can do with the onion skinning. Let's turn that on. And you can see your frames. So if we drag the brackets here, you can see and predict their timing. So they all fall at the same rate, but they just react differently. Okay, looking good. All right, so the last part is I just wanted to show you what happens if you change a symbol's color or not. So just say we wanted to go inside the symbol and change the color to, say, yellow. Okay, it's going to copy it because it's just the ball symbol, this ball symbol here. It will actually copy it to every single symbol called ball. So I can adjust it that way. Okay, I'm going to turn onion skinning off. And that is basically the end of this tutorial. Thank you for listening.